Shalom, bitches. My end is here from audio only, bringing you some more Billy Bob Space Trucker. We're on chapter 13, so let's begin. Dr. Goldsmith shook his head slowly as he looked over the data he'd obtained from scanning Billy Bob. These Americans were crazy. Their density, their composition. He found no less than 6 chemicals or elements in their makeup that would kill most species. Their sodium levels were off the charts. He couldn't even believe how much alcohol their body seemed ready to process. 2 or 3% alcohol solutions were more than enough to get many species drunk. But according to his research, American alcoholic beverages didn't start until something like 4 or 5%. Not only that, but they carbonated it. Sure, libertonians like Emily had a high tolerance as well, so it wasn't unique, but it was certainly rare. The fact they had drinks over 50% alcohol was unheard of. He was preparing a report to send to the Greater Black Market Network that was run by his people, the Banktiers, when he was interrupted by a nurse.
Dr. Goldsmith, you need to come and deal with this.
He got up hurriedly, scurrying after the nurse, to find a Vekish standing in the waiting room of the clinic. His face looked scarred, but had clearly been treated by some biogel. He had a weapon in his hand and a military-grade shield belt. His bearing marked him as one of the clan who assaulted the station. But he didn't look threatening. Instead, he looked worried.
What's all this about?
The Vekish snapped to attention then.
My life has been spared by the great Billy Bob. He has seen fit to save me from the third death ball Mittens. He has tasked me with serving this station as protector and guardian until the end of my days.
He paused and looked at Dr. Goldsmith, as if something would happen. But Goldsmith looked around the room and then back.
Well, what do you want from me?
The Vekish looked a little nervous.
I was hoping you could tell me how to do that. I was just a private. My kin have fled. The guards told me that you'd been seen to the great Billy Bob.
Dr. Goldsmith blinked for a moment.
He didn't tell you what to do?
Only that I guard and protect this place with my life. I owe him a true Vekish soul debt, and must keep it.
Goldsmith blinked at that once more. Billy Bob had gotten a Vekish to swear a soul debt and abandon search for his battle brothers. Was there no end to the amazing things that human could accomplish? He must truly be some sort of elite warrior and pilot to his people. He smiled at the Vekish.
Yes, come with me. We'll get you set up in Central.
The Vekish visibly sagged with relief as he bowed his horns in thanks.
I will not disappoint the great Billy Bob.
Goldsmith just smiled, leading the Vekish along behind him as they walked to the Central Command Station. They were still cleaning up, especially since their CEO had been killed by that evil... What had Billy Bob called it? An evil space clown. Having done a little research into humanity, that term seemed appropriate. But it just confused him on why humans had such terrifying children's entertainers. Either way, the four-armed insectoid Annette, who the Banktiers hired as guards, fluttered a little in the presence of the Vekish, clutching their energy weapons tight. But Goldsmith waved them off and rode the elevator up with his new charge. As he stepped out into the command center, he could see the remaining board of operators had assembled to fill in positions on the station left by their dead kin. But they weren't in the frenzy vote at the moment. They were huddled around a communication terminal.
What's going on?
He asked as he approached.
Bad news, Doctor. The Galactic Secret Service is here. What? The Cruciakins? Why? They've issued a level 1 warrant for the arrest of a terrorist they think is on our station. Well, just hand them over. We don't want trouble with them. That's the problem. They don't want a normal client or even one of our own.
Goldsmith gulped, fearing he knew what was next. But he had to ask.
Then who do they want? They've ordered the arrest and capture of Billy Bob Space Trucker.
There was a little chime in the cabin as Billy Bob looked at his calendar and laughed.
"Aw, shit, look at that, it's Arcanist Day. Emily, grab me a beer, gotta celebrate."
Emily arched a brow, but walked back to the fridge. returning with 2 beers. Billy Bob cracked his open and laughed, lifting it up as he said,
Humanity. Fuck yeah.
Then he began to drink. Emily, on the other hand, just chuckled and quickly opened her tab while biting the side of the can to slurp it out dry. "What's this about?" she asked after crushing the can on her skull.
Oh, it's Arcanist Day back on Earth. Some old human leader rallied a bunch of people around that cry as we started our first steps into colonization of our solar system.
She nodded. "You celebrate with a drink?"
Well, I gotta keep driving. Normally, we celebrate by getting drunk.
What about other human holidays?
The next one, we dress up, eat candy, and get drunk. Then Vets Day, where we celebrate soldiers by drinking and grilling stuff. After that, we get together with family, have a feast, and get drunk. After that, we get together with family again, exchange presents, and get drunk. Then it's getting drunk to celebrate the new year. And then we get drunk with people we want to fuck and eat chocolate. And then we grill meat and get drunk to celebrate our presidents. Oh shit, then there is a week of getting drunk because of voodoo and Narlins. Lots of tits for that one. Then we get drunk because of Ireland. Then we get up early, have a nice brunch, and get a little drunk while eating chocolate eggs.
He nodded for a moment as he looked thoughtful, trying to remember everything.
Then we get drunk Mexican style, 'cause some reason. 'Cause we want to, mostly. Something about France, I think. And then we have Memorial's Day, where we remember those who fought and died for us. More serious, but drinking is often involved. Then we have a day celebrating how awesome our flag is. Drinking not required, but again, often involved.
He perked up and looked even more excited.
And then there's the biggest, bestest day of them all, Independence Day. We explode shit, drink, grill meat, and generally spend the week in a blur of celebration.
He rubbed his chin.
Is that it? Nah, we have a day to celebrate working by not working, and instead getting drunk and grilling stuff.
He nodded slowly.
I think that's all of them.
You get drunk for all of your holidays?
Yeah, mostly. Of course I'm leaving out the sports-related holidays, because not everyone gets involved in those. We used to have one to celebrate the guy who found America, but turns out while awesome in some senses, he was an asshole in others. So we decided to drop it in favor of National Pizza Day, which is pretty awesome too if you ask me.
Emily blinked, having no idea just how much the Americans apparently drank. While her people had high tolerance overall, if they drank that much, their bodies wouldn't be able to handle it. Maybe Earth years were more spread out. She'd have to look into it. Overall, the trip with Billy Bob heading to his cargo delivery planet was pretty smooth once they left the station. Emily would sleep every few hours, and Billy Bob would listen to his music. And then, when he needed to sleep, he'd pull off and take a nap, as she listened to music, and then they'd switch again. Once he was up, and they were just 4 hours from the planet, she had been listening to quite a bit of human music. So, this person was the monarch of popular.
Nah, the King of Pop isn't like an official title. He was just a great musician and dancer. He wasn't really royalty. We use the term now and then. Before him was Elvis.
He wasn't a monarch either.
Nah, he was just another great musician. Farted himself to death one day, I think.
Emily blinked at that. And this other one?
What, Jackson? We don't know.
What do you mean?
Decades ago, someone wiped out all records about his life after the year 1990. Probably died, and they didn't like how it ended or something. I don't know.
So they were ruled over by this Pope of Parody?
Who? Weird Al? Nah. Again, that's not a real title. Just a funny guy and another great musician.
Why do you keep giving such titles to musicians?
We like them. I don't know. We give titles to everyone we think deserves one. They don't mean anything. Just sort of, we like titles, okay?
She shrugged it off then, and figured she'd just have to understand Americans better. The rest of the trip to INAH-3 was uneventful. They found the quiet little agro world, and Billy Bob brought his longhorn down into the planet's atmosphere. Emily pulled her mask and hood back on to keep people from recognizing a Libertonian, but the galaxy wasn't aware they needed to be afraid of Americans yet, so Billy Bob was all right. They landed in a clearing he'd been guided to on his contract, but they didn't see any signs of a town, or many buildings. Either way, the planet was only half normal Earth gravity, so he began to unload the crates from the Longhorn with minimal effort. It was a typical agro world. No evolved natural animals bigger than his pinky. Just plants. Lots and lots of plants. The colony was supposed to be near a mountain, with some forested area, and then massive rolling plains of weeds. Or maybe they weren't actually weeds, but they looked like space weeds to him. "Are you sure you should unload that? You don't know if they're still alive," Emily asked as he started to move the crates, even though they hadn't contacted the colonists.
I was paid to deliver this shit to this spot. Not my fault they're too dead to collect,"
he grunted as he was about half done with unloading. Emily sat on top of the pile of crates, looking around the area while Billy Bob finished. When the last box was out, he smiled and brushed off his hands.
"Well, now to go find them."
"I think I see smoke of some sort that way," she said, pointing towards the base of the nearby hills. They walked through the trees, and Billy Bob noticed he didn't hear any birds or insects, which seemed wrong. To a human, that meant something evil, or big and hungry was close. But some agro worlds just didn't have that sort of animals. They came out of the trees in a clearing of what looked like basic tents and low-level structures. The creatures were humanoid, and had shaggy hair with long snouts, ending in what looked like unkempt beards. They were wearing very basic clothes, and in general looked nothing like the colonists he was used to. They had long eyes on stalks that turned his way as he approached.
"I don't like this. Their eyes are so red, and this place smells."
"Oh, you're not familiar with Holtgems? They're very peaceful herbivores, live with nature, very little impact and all that."
Billy Bob growled out, "Space hippies."
He pointed to one that they were walking towards.
I delivered your shit. Pay me so I can get away from you jobless dirty freaks."
"Whoa, man. That's like some really harsh language, man. You're harshing my buzz."
Billy Bob growled at the creature as it scurried away.
Just go see like the Peace Mother and Father in the cave."
Billy Bob glared at the space hippie and walked towards the cave he saw past the settlement. He wanted to stop, but in this gravity, he'd go flying. Once they were inside, he saw two older, fatter space hippies who smelled worse than the rest.
"Oh, you're the one who brought our cargo. Thank you so much. May the stupid hippie peace God bless you. Like, your aura is so kind."
"Yeah, no. Where's my payment?"
"What? Oh, right."
The slightly less fat, but smellier of the two, he couldn't tell the males and females apart, led him deeper into the cave. He saw the first sign of civilization, as they had some sort of metal cage around He looked at it closely. It looked like some sort of six-legged space fox, with two sets of ears, the size of a German shepherd. It had a bright orange coat, with black along the feet and ears. He already had space foxes in his translator. Shit. Space cat dog? That would work. The thing looked depressed.
"This is our space cat dog. We brought it here to live a clean vegetarian lifestyle with us."
"But space cat dogs are carnivores," Emily said from behind him.
"We think we can break them of that bad habit," the space hippie said.
"You people make me sick," Billy Bob growled.
But he was here to get paid. The space hippie shrugged and rummaged through a box in the back before pulling out a pink crystal inlaid with some sort of wreath of vines, turning to hand it to Billy Bob.
"The fuck is this?"
"That's your payment. It gives you lifelong access to any space hippie planet where you're free to share in our food and shelter."
Billy Bob twitched a little, but Emily leaned in behind him, whispering, "Billy Bob, that space cat dog is incredibly rare and valuable. It's worth at least 1,000,000 credits on the open market, more to the right buyer."
My compatriot forgot something in the ship. I'll just stay here and share in your natural bounty.
He turned, giving Emily a light push.
I'll see you back at the ship, Emily. Be right behind you.
The diplomat was a bit confused, but after a moment of hesitation, turned and began to walk out of the colony. She was almost to the Longhorn when she heard shouting. Turning, she saw Billy Bob with the carnivore in his arm, running towards her in long bounding strides in the low gravity.
Emily, get on the ship. We gotta fucking book it. The space hippies befriended some sort of rock creatures. Go, go, go!
And so ends another chapter in the adventures of Billy Bob, Space Trucker. Alright guys, like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, leave a comment if you have anything you feel like saying, and if you have any recommendations on what else I should read for y'alls, go ahead and put it down there as well. With that, have a nice one, y'alls.